Hey everybody, Stu Smith here going live. I hope you are doing well. This Monday morning, we're going to chat a little bit about the three things you need to add to your life while you age. And there are many of them, but the three most important ones are the following. You guys ready? Balance, strength training, resistance training, and cardio training. You need all three. And how do you get all three? If you don't like going to the gym, you're getting older, you want to just do something. Well, you don't need a gym to do this. You don't at all. Something is wrong with my computer here. Doesn't seem to be working. Um, but you can do it around the house. Yard work is a great form of resistance training. Walking is a great form of cardio training. You can do it with all that. And then balance, you can just add balance throughout your life by walking um, and standing on one leg, doing things like you're standing in line, stand on one leg. I think my computer froze up here. You guys seeing me? Because I can't even see what you guys are doing. Let me see if my YouTube page is up. So if you guys have questions, you can start sending them in. Hopefully, my computer will catch up to you guys, but it looks like I'm having some difficulties. Now, what kind of strength training do you need? You can do calisthenics, you can do TRXs, you can do dumbbells. But some of the movements that are probably the most important to you are just the most foundational movements that we use every day. For instance, sitting and standing up, aka squatting. Lunging to a degree, if you have good knees, then you can handle lunging. Yes, add in lunging. Hip hinges, bending over, picking up stuff. Very important. Touching your toes. Carrying things, whether that's a farmer grip or a backpack or just adding some weight to um, moving things from one side of the yard to the other in a wheelbarrow, right? Carrying things. And upper body pushing and pulling. All of those are critical to you becoming strong. Yeah, I don't know what is wrong with my internet right now, but I don't think it's working. And I can't see comments from you guys, so I may have to redo this thing. Yeah. Sorry. We'll try it again. Signing off. I can't even sign off. My computer is frozen. Hey, folks. I'm not sure if you're still around or not, but it looks like I got my computer working and we are live again. So, terribly sorry about that. I'm not even sure if I'm on over at Instagram or not. Let me see. Can't tell. Anyway, sorry about that hookup. I had to like reboot everything on my computer because my screen froze. So I guess you guys could see me evidently looking at your comments, but I couldn't even see your comments. Had I done that, had I been able to see them, I probably would have just kept rolling with it and made up questions. um, so it looks like I saw some questions in here. What do you think about Olympic lifting for prep and for active duty? You know what? It's a good hobby. It's going to make you strong. It's going to make you move well with Olympics, but I don't know if you read much about the Olympic lifts and athletics, right? Like the usefulness of using Olympic lifts for athletics, and there's not much spillover. um, I'll find that study on that, but I've heard many coaches talk about it as well. So, um, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of comments other than that. Just that, I've seen many people that like Olympic lifts that do great in prep for active duty and selections, and I've seen many that have never touched an Olympic barbell movement and did great too. So I don't think it's one of those things that will make or break it, if that makes any sense. Um, yeah, hopefully you guys can swing back on, ask some questions. But let me get back to what I was going to talk about initially, and that is wrote this article for military.com. It's titled "Three Activities We Need to Add or Continue to Do as We Age." And I was shocked by a couple of these studies I read that the reduction in physical activity for most Americans starts to decline after age 25. Now, if you think about it, that kind of makes sense. Everybody starts like real life starts hitting you by that age. You've done your high school sports, you maybe worked out a little bit because you had more time in college, and now life kicks you in the nuts and you have no more time to do the things that you enjoyed. But you got to make time for it. That's just, if you spend the next 15, 20 years not doing anything, by the time you're 40, 45, you are going to be hurting. And usually where people find themselves is, 2 decades of not working out like they did in their teens and early 20s. They have metabolic syndrome, cardiorespiratory diseases, early markers of stroke and heart disease, even heart attacks in your early 40s. Unfortunately, I've seen that countless times. Diabetes, you know, starts to occur. Um, and there are three key activities that can keep all of that at bay, and they are balance training. Because here's the deal. Here's why I put balance first, is that if you start to lose your balance, now you're susceptible to falling. You fall, you get injured, you can't work out at all anyway because you're hurt. Maybe you broke your hip, broke your leg. You're you're spending more time doing nothing, not even walking to the refrigerator. Right? So balance I put as one. The other two are strength and cardiovascular training, which doesn't have to be like hardcore stuff. You can just be um, walking, biking, yard work. The strength training can be just calisthenics, dumbbell work in your house. You can join a gym and join the machines and go with barbells and do all kinds of fun stuff out there, if you're so inclined, but it's not something that you need to do. The TRX is one of my favorites, for all generations. I remember I was once working out with the TRX and showing a couple of people, and uh, I showed three generations of women how to do the TRX at the same time. Right. And it was a lot of fun. So we had the daughter who was yeah, the daughter who was in her 30s, the mother of that daughter who was in her 60s, and the grandmother of the mother or the daughter, who was in her late 80s. And every one of them could do the TRX. It was just a matter of just changing the angle to make it a little bit easier or harder. And one of the most favorite things I've seen is when someone who's in their 80s and 90s can do a toe touch, walk it out into a plank push up position, do a push up, walk it back like a, you know, up dog, down dog type of thing, walk it back to their toes and shift their weights and stand up from there versus struggle to stand on their feet. Um, that is a great activity to start just getting good at, getting good at, being able to get up off the floor, getting out of a chair without having to use your arms, squatting. Um, is probably out of all the movements you need to get good at doing, squatting is probably the main one because you sit down and stand up all day. After that, it's, carrying things and bending over, picking up stuff and not hurting your back. I was talking to two doctors the other day on that. I don't know if you guys saw that podcast I was on. In fact, I'll share it. It was a really good podcast by these two doctors from Princeton area, spinal doctors, and they made a neat statement that said, most of the injuries they see um, come from people just bending over and picking up a pen, or golfers bending over and um, picking up a golf ball, not even playing golf ball. So kind of when you hear, things like that. So, and how important it is to just keep moving. I know I'm kind of in a different demographic than I usually am. A lot of people like coming over here and talking about spec ops stuff, but I will tell you this. Um, when I have a online coaching program that people join, and most of the people are those people I am talking about right now, the people that have spent the last 20 years focusing on business and life getting in the way of their training, and now they have to play catch up, get in better shape, get healthy, and by the time they're 45, 50, or in better shape than they were in their 20s. Those are most of the people I see on that program. And I get people in their 60s and 70s. Even had some guys late 70s, early 80s in there, doing training that was somewhat difficult. I had one guy in his 70s that was still doing triathlons. How fun was that? So, um, but I do get some spec ops guys in that group too, and regular military guys for that matter. But most people are just regular people that need to get healthy. And these are the three activities you need to add to your life to do it. Now, yes, there's other parts about hydration and nutrition and all that stuff has to be on point too. But these are the three activities that are going to put you there. And I promise you that they will put you there. So don't let inactivity make you age faster than you have to. All right, let's take some questions. I'm glad you guys still stuck around. Sorry for my computer issues. Hey Stu, in odd days, max days, in that workout to increase push-ups and pull-ups by 50 to 100%. Yeah, you're talking about the pull-up push-up protocol. I've been doing for probably about 30 years now with people. You said that we must complete the number in few sets, but how long do I need to rest in each set? Well, it's kind of up to you. I just say this primarily. You take your max number of push-ups. Let's say you can do 40 push-ups. You take it, multiply it by 5, now that's 200. So you owe 200 push-ups that day for 10 days in a row. Then you take 3 days off and you take a test on day 14. Um, Whether or not you get all those repetitions in one workout session is kind of up to you. Now, I will say this is a supplemental plan. This is not the only thing you're doing. So, normally you will have upper body days and lower body days and cardio days and things like that. But if you're already doing push ups or bench press for that matter, I'll count those as well in your normal workout, those count towards your total numbers. So you may already get 200 push ups done in a normal workout. If that's the case, you don't owe anything. So you've done it in a workout, rests apply to that. If you want to get it done in as few sets as possible, as quickly as possible, you can do that too. If you want to do max sets and spread them throughout the day and do, let's say, try to get 40 every time you do it, or maybe 42 or 43. So you want to push your current max. Um, and you can spread those throughout the day and rest an hour in between sets if you want to. So the end of the 10 days is all about volume and hitting that overload zone where you're going to be doubting your ability to do 40 push-ups or additional pull-ups at that 7, 8, 9, 10 mark. But you take 3 days off, no pushing or pulling if you're doing the pull-up section, you will recover significantly enough to see improvements on that PST or push-up and pull-up test. And depending on where you were, I have seen anywhere between 50 and 100% increase. Now, not all situations are the same. I would say most people are somewhere in that 25 to 50% improvement range, especially if they're, high, 40s, 50s. It's hard to double and go from 50 to 100, but it's easy to go from 25 to 50, right? So it really kind of depends on your current fitness level, but that's how it works. Good question, though. It's a good little program. It's only 2 weeks. I don't recommend doing it longer than that just because I've seen negative results after doing it for too long. I've done mostly high weight, low rep training. Yep. That's what I used to do as well. Currently, my pull ups are 13, sit ups 64, push ups 54. Is it realistic to shoot for 20, 80, 80? Yes. Yeah, but lay off the heavy weights because you're not going to do it if you don't lay off the heavy weights. So you can't get good at increasing your muscle stamina while at the same time you're cranking out super heavy weight training. It just now you can maintain both when you get it, but it's hard to improve in both of those elements. That's why I've kind of broken up my seasonal tactical fitness, system to focus on elements that work well together. Elements of fitness that work well together are muscle stamina and endurance. So running, swimming, rucking, calisthenics. Um, Elements that work well together as well are strength, power, speed, agility. That's our winter lift cycle. That's what we're doing right now. So those are the elements, those 8 elements right there are very important to, when you say 8, I guess there's, if you count the 3 different modes of cardio, um, that would be 8, but really 6, or 5. Yeah, 6. Um, and then the other 2 is flexibility and mobility. You got to do those year round, um, just to be a little more pliable. But yes, 2 to 3 months, definitely. Now, if you're heavier, it's going to be harder. So, like if you spent all your life doing football and powerlifting, and now you're 240 pounds, guess what? A 240-pound pull up is really hard to do. So, you're probably going to have to drop some weight, get in that 200 range, and be very lean, very strong for that body weight. And you will see your running and pull ups and push ups improve dramatically when each rep is 40 pounds lighter. That's like me wearing a 40-pound weight vest and doing pull-ups and push-ups. Makes a big difference to your total reps. All right. My dad's turning 61 this year. He walks a lot, but does not strength train or balance train. How should I introduce him to balance training? Any suggestions for basic exercises? Yeah, you know what I would do is walking is great. That's actually a really good balance training right there, because if you're walking a lot, you're balancing every step. Just may not realize it. Now, you can make it a little bit more challenging by, whenever you're just standing up, let's say he's doing something in the kitchen, right? Or standing in line at the bank, right? Stand on one leg, right? Lift one leg up. Now, if you really want to play around with it, I would definitely have something to hold on to, because you will lose your balance when you do this. Stand on one leg and close your eyes. And you're going to really feel the foot, the shin, all of those stabilizing muscles of the lower extremity that are really responsible for keeping you upright turn on really quickly. And you're going to be wobbling. You're gonna have to open your eyes a little bit. You'll catch your equilibrium will settle down. You'll be able to catch your balance without having to grab onto something. But those are really easy ways to do it. Now, if you want to introduce strength training and balance, the way I like to do it is, if I'm doing a bicep overhead press, which is, one of my favorite exercises to combine, is do bicep curls, overhead press with dumbbells. Do that on one leg. That's a really good way too. Another one too is get those Bosu balls, stand on those. That's probably a little more advanced, but you can put both legs on there, stand on those, and balance yourself. Try to do a squat on them. That's really hard. But yeah, anything where you're just really just standing up is about a balance exercise. Another one is doing farmer walks. So when you're walking from one end of the yard to the other, across the house, whatever, hold one dumbbell in your hand, just like you're carrying luggage. Stay upright, so you're working the core a little bit more, and you're being forced to stay upright and balance yourself with that weight wanting to pull you down this way. So that's another level of balance you can start mixing in with strength training. So hope that gives you some good ideas. Um, but yeah, those are good ones. And, just sitting down, standing up, every time he sits down, do it 10 times, and then sit down. Right. That's a good way to practice squatting. Okay. What would you say the best static cardio is to try to keep cardio up in basic training while doing personal workouts with cows? Good question. I would say 2 things. If you're trying to keep your cardio up, chances are you mean running. So you got to work your lungs and your legs. So burpees will definitely get your lungs smoking. And lunges will definitely get your legs smoking. So I would maybe not do them on the same day. Have an upper body day where you just do push-ups and sit-ups and find a place to do pull-ups and burpees. And then on leg days, you do squats and lunges and wall sits, jumps, anything like that, just to get, um, your heart rate up and your legs moving. But yeah, vertical jumps, multiple of those. That's a good way to get the heart rate up a little higher, a little more dynamic movement. Um, that's what most of the guys that I uh, coach prior to them leaving do while they're there, just to kind of stay in shape a little bit better while the deconditioning of Navy boot camp occurs. Hey Stu, seasonal tactical lift cycle is working wonders on my run. While gaining strength. Just hit a PR on my mile 6:10 last week. Lunges specifically, I think, have helped me the most. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I mean, this is one of those cycles. Trying to think if I have. This is the fall one, seasonal tactical fitness periodization. So I have a 4-part series called seasonal tactical fitness periodization. Also have another fall winter combo. That's a previous year that we did. But yeah, these are great ways to introduce weight training to gain some strength, build up some mass, but it has a system in there that allows you to kind of warm up with calisthenics, cool down with cardio. So you're maintaining those while you focus on improving the strength training primarily. But with this model here, the little block periodization model, like on weeks 4, 8, and 12, we do a calisthenics week. So every fourth week, we deload from 3 weeks of lifting hard and warming up with cals, doing cardio. So you're not like completely negating running. You're still running, but it's shorter, it's faster runs. And that's probably where your mile time is picking up, because you're, working on those goal pace runs a little bit more faster than goal pace runs as well. Those have been very helpful for my guys. That just it changes the energy system and that you're working on, and just get your legs used to running a little bit faster. So yeah, that's once we started doing the block periodization model, instead of people kind of maintaining their calisthenics and cardio while they were lifting, they actually saw improvements with the um, strength and weight gain, as well as their cals and cardios were also improving. So the block periodization models work pretty well. And if you don't have a block periodization model, and let's say you just don't have the money to buy one, that's cool. You can make your own, but do it like this. Do 3 weeks of strength training that you like to do. Maybe warm up with little cals, cool down with some cardio. And then on that fourth week, you just do a cals and cardio week. PT pyramid, supersets, run, swim, bike, whatever. It's just cals and cardio. So you kind of deload off that winter lift cycle. And everybody comes back from that cals week into that lifting week again, just another notch stronger. But they've also maintained that endurance and muscle stamina that they're also trying to do. So it's a really good system. I spent 25 years trying to figure it out. And because there's a lot to do with tactical fitness that I think a lot of people disregard in their own training, and even trainers for some groups will just focus on strength and maybe run a little bit or ruck a little bit, but they're neglecting some of the speed and agility needed for obstacle courses, and they're some of the other tests too. Like now the tests have the 5 10 5 shuttle runs, and things where you change direction quickly. That is the term agility, what that means. um, so you gotta find a way to mix it all in to your training, and you can't do it in a day, right? It's hard to improve in all of those in a single workout. So you need a cycle. You need a cycle to focus on your endurance and muscle stamina. You need a cycle that focuses on your um, strength and power, speed and agility. But then you try in those main focus cycles to maintain some of the other elements that were hard gained from the previous cycle. So that's how we do it with the block periodization. But I'm glad you like it. Thanks for letting me explain that a little bit more to folks. Hey, Stu, what's your experience working with the green side network operators and the teams? I have opportunity to go cyber warfare and screen for operator, CTN, TIO. We actually see a lot of those guys because we have Fort Meade just right down the street. So we get a lot of cryptos and intel guys that are trying to go over to um, the spec ops side to be their spec ops side. And typically you have a challenging screening to do. I mean, they're not just going to let you go over there because you want to, right? There's a big screening um, that you'll have to do, and it always starts with a fitness test. It's going to start with a PST. So be able to do basically the Buds PST, which is swim, pull up, push up, sit ups, mile and a half run. Then there's some other events too that will be significant to training to get through the test and selection part of that process. But yeah, we deal with them all the time. For balance, what about a wobble board? Excellent. Wobble boards are fantastic. Highly recommend them. We do a couple of different things. We do, one-legged activities, obviously. We do, what are those things called? Not a wobble board, but the Bosu balls. We do those, and then we also add in, what is that board? It's like a board with a cylinder under it. Like a lot of surfers use it. It's very advanced. It's hardcore to be able to do it. I think it's like the Endo board or something. Endo board balance trainer. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to take your balance to another level, this I would say this is more advanced level than it is for people that are just trying to stand up and not fall. Check out the Endo board. We love these things. This is something that you basically feel like a surfer. In fact, I think it's for surfers, like dry land training type stuff. I Stu wanted to do sit-ups without a mat since I won't have a mat during training. I don't have a lot of beef in my tailbone area, so I've been in a lot of pain doing them. Is this generally safe? Yeah, it's safe, and it's unfortunately something you got to get used to. Everybody at Buds who is doing sit-ups on pavement, which is what the grinder was, I think it is now again, um, had little strawberries on the back of their butt, and some even had it on their spines. And when you jumped in that water, you get wet and sandy all the time. We actually had a nickname for this, and it was called the grinder reminder, right? You're like, next day, you got this little strawberry back there that's bleeding. Sometimes you can see it through your shorts. You go jump in the water, stings a little bit. It's the grinder reminder. Now, I don't want to say just suck it up, um, but for lack of a better explanation, that's kind of what we all did. But you can also, build up your butt by actually doing squats and lunges, build up a little bit of height on there so you won't be rubbing that butt bone on there. And if you had to, you could even lean a little bit to the left or to the right and actually get that bottom of your spine off of the pavement doing it. But you're not going to do a lot of those. Um, in fact, most of the testing for those are going to be on grass. And you won't ever do any sit-up tests after the first day of prep. So, or the first week of prep. So I wouldn't sweat it too much, but you want to do them because you will do them as a group training exercise, but it's nothing to really sweat that much. Let's see. Thanks, Stu. I'm stuck at 25 push-ups. I tried the grease the groove, didn't increase. I'll go to your push-up protocol. Thanks. Give it a shot. 25 to 50 is not out of the realm of possibilities for you. You just got to be consistent with pushing yourself, through that discomfort zone. Another thing that we do, if you find that that doesn't work, something I have found that works really well is when you do a bench press, like bench press your normal, let's say 10 reps, right? And you can't do 11 or 12, right? But you can still do it, but you don't want to try 11 or 12 because you might fail, right? So stop at 10. Then hop off of that bench immediately, see how many push-ups you can do. And you might be able to get 5 or 6 before it like really starts burning. And that's a really great way to simulate those last 30 seconds of a 2-minute push-up test. And I've seen people's scores, skyrocket from that. So if you wanted to, if like I said, this is a supplemental push-up protocol. So it's not something you do by itself. You're doing a normal workout. So on an upper body day when you're doing bench press, count those bench press as your push-up reps, then jump right into push-ups, count those as well for that day, but they're going to be really hard to do several, but that's where you want to be. And then finish up the workout with, maybe a couple hours later getting another 50 push-ups spread throughout the day to get your total number of, what do you got to get? Like for 25 push-ups, you need to do 125 a day. So been testing this out on people since the 90s, and I've seen men and women, young and old, increase their pull-ups and push-ups in 2 weeks significantly. Now, I've seen people not. So it's not a 100% foolproof answer to your problem, but it's worth the try and it's free. So it's just extra push-ups. You're going to get better at push-ups. What are your go-to meals to get a lot of calories while still trying to eat healthy? Training is ramping up next week and I don't want to lose lean mass, body fat. My suggestion would be find calorie dense foods to snack on, meaning almonds, peanuts, fish, avocado, guacamole, peanut butter. All of those, just a spoonful of peanut butter twice a day is going to add 500 calories to your day. But then all the other foods can be your normal food and eating healthy. That's the way I would do it. What's a good way to get rid of asthma? Whew, man, I wish I knew. I have no idea. I don't think you can. Some people claim they have, but I don't know how they did. My thing is they probably didn't really have asthma, but I don't know. I mean, this is something you need to talk to a cardiopulmonologist. That is way above my pay grade. Let's see. Did you get to see the new video the Air Force posted with Sam Ekholm inside the Stowe Phase 2 selection? I did not. Is it a good one? Do you have any recommended GPP programs, either from you or elsewhere? Or is the Father Hogue workout still your go-to recommendation? That is a very beginner program. And once again, it's very generic in its programming. The 90-day workout program, I think, is what I kind of renamed the Father Hogue workout. It's a very basic way to get back into creating a habit of fitness again. And it's very easy, but it's designed to be easy. But depending on your fitness level, it could be very challenging. Another one I have is the calisthenics and cardio workout, where I think it may be better for someone who is a beginner that wants to get past that beginner stage, because it has a beginner, intermediate, and advanced workout all built into it. And it's primarily calisthenics and cardio. Um, and, so you're going to, you still have resistance training. So you can build strength with calisthenics, but most of the time, it's a muscle stamina exercises in multiple sets. Here's the deal with calisthenics being a strength exercise. Like your first and second pull up is a strength exercise. Your 10th or 15th pull up is a muscle stamina exercise. Same goes for push ups, squats, lunges, all of those things. It starts off as a strength exercise and moves into what, some people call muscle stamina. I think the actual term is strength endurance. So it's a combo. Is it wrong to wear UDTs if you're not spec war guy? I wanted to get a pair because they look comfortable to run in, but some people say it's offensive to wear if you're not spec war, spec ops. Um, there are much more comfortable shorts than UDT shorts. I thought UDT shorts were probably some of the most uncomfortable shorts I've ever had to wear. My advice would be just get some regular running shorts with a liner inside. Those UDT shorts don't have any liners, and your stuff just flops around. It's not very comfortable. Yeah, I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't get them just because of that. Now, whoever told you that is not wrong either, because when I see guys like wearing their UDTs, I'm like, you know, I don't care personally, especially if their goal is to become that. I don't have a problem with them doing it. Some people do. And I'm all for running in boots, running in pants, swimming in UDT shorts, because guess what? You're going to do all that in your very near future. So why not get the gear that you're going to be training in? But I will say this, I don't think they're very flattering and very comfortable. So get you some nice Under Armour line shorts and, at least be comfortable with it. It was really cool to see a bit of what goes on inside phase two, since before it seemed they tried to keep information on it minimal. Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, it's pretty tough. That calisthenics program is fire. I love it. Yeah, I love it too, man. I tell you, I wrote that not thinking it was going to be very popular, but it's funny because I published it like December of 2019, and 2 months later COVID hit and all the gyms closed and people were looking for ideas, and I was able to say, "You know what? This thing works really well. It's one of my favorite workouts." And then so many people got, involved with doing those calisthenics workouts that they really enjoyed them. Um, some of them didn't even go back to a gym because they like doing their calisthenics on their own. So, yeah, I think it's great. So, question about the calisthenics program. On the calisthenics, it says use fins. What if I do not have fins? You should buy fins. They're not much. In fact, just buy some slip on fins I call sporty. I want you to Google sporty fins, SPORTI, sporty fins. You can literally get these for $20. Come on, man. If you don't have them, buy them. Hey, Stu, what email should I send a CSS video to? Most people either DM me over at Instagram, StuSmith50, or they send it to me, stu@stusmith.com. That is my email address. And thanks for reminding me, because tomorrow we're going to do the CSS show, where I show some CSS videos of you guys submitting them, and I'll critique them live for you. And you kind of ask some questions about how that person's swimming. Should he change this? Should he change that? We can have that discussion, because there's one thing when I teach a group of people the CSS, I'll usually have two people swim the CSS, but both of them are swimming different versions of that CSS. One may be using a breaststroke kick, other one using a scissor kick and staying on his side the whole time. Another one rotates over on his belly and makes a big arm pull with it. And they all work. So it depends on you and your athletic history as to what style of CSS you want to do. But there's no real one answer, to be honest with you. If you want to do a pyramid workout for my calisthenics movement, up to max and down, should I do it one move at a time or cycle through? I don't like to do the one move at a time. It just requires too much rest in between. So allow yourself to have other activities to rest in between those pull-ups, for instance. So pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups are a great triple combo of a circuit for you to do in the pyramid workout. And then wherever you fail at, pull-ups, go ahead and turn back down. If you want to, you can keep going up with push-ups and, adding in easier versions of pull-ups. So let's say you fell at 9 and you want to go to 10. So you go to that next set and you're not failing on push-ups or sit-ups. You go to that next set and let's say you only get 6 because you're burning out. Well, you have 4 more. So find a way to get 4 pulling exercises to match the number 10. You can do that with pull downs. You can do it with bands on the pull-up thing. You can have somebody pick you up and come down slow. I wouldn't do too many negatives because that will put you in a hurt locker if you do 20, 50 negatives. So, I usually like to leave my negatives in the total of 5 to 10 in a workout. Like if you're really doing a negative to, a 5-10 second negative. All right. A couple more questions and then I have to bail. Been struggling to find a good breathing pattern when I run, affects my run. I've talked about breathing and rhythm before. I tend to go 2 to 3 steps inhale, 2 to 3 steps exhale. So 2 to 3 steps in, 2 to 3 steps out. Sometimes you can exhale a little faster, especially if you exhale through your mouth. That'll usually be like a 2-step exhale. But inhaling through your nose might require you to take 3 steps. So 3, 2, that's a good one. Play around with it and see what you find. What you don't want to be doing is running like this, and just have no rhythm at all. So, let's see. Currently active duty Air Force cross training in the Spec War. Any advice on getting through selection? Then pipeline. Yeah, I got tons of advice, and it's all right here. I mean, write a book about it. I really don't have the capacity to answer your question in 20 seconds. All the advice I have for selection. My advice is assess yourself, make sure you know your strengths and weaknesses, and focus like a dart on that bullseye on those weaknesses. Maintain your strengths, make sure that you are not leaving any weaknesses undeveloped, because I promise you this, that first week of selection, your weakness will be exposed. So that is my generic advice for training for anything challenging. Thanks. I usually see fins at the $150 range. My miles 5 minutes. My 500's 10:20. Any recommendations help my swimming? Yeah, 50-50 swim workouts, and send me a video. Make sure you're swimming right, because you could be all jacked up with your technique. So it's technique first, conditioning second. Let's figure out why you can't do a 50-second 50 for 10 laps. Right? That might be a technique issue, could be a conditioning issue, could be both. So, what's your Wednesday superset PT workout like? What are you talking about? If you go to the classic PST week, maybe that's what you're talking about, because my Wednesday this week is a mobility day. In fact, I'm Googling here classic PST week. So crush the PST with this, damn it, classic PST week. So it looks like my Wednesday superset is listed right there. So why don't you just look at it? Right? If you're asking me what it looks like, you can find it right here in this article. Free. You're welcome. All right, folks. That's I think this is my last minute here. So if I missed your question, I apologize. Send them to me, stu@stewsmith.com. Go over to stewsmithfitness.com. You'll see tons of articles there. You can do a little search feature. If there's something that you're looking at that I talk about, I've probably written about it as well. Do a Google search on a question, put my name in it. I've probably written about it. But you can also find programming that fits your training needs and goals, especially if you're focusing on military, law enforcement, firefighter style fitness programming. But if you're just trying to get in shape too, I do have some that can work for you as well. All right. I guess that's it. Oh, let me save 15%. Live 15. Live 15 at stewsmithfitness.com. 15% on programs. So I appreciate you sticking around this long. There's 15% off. All right, guys. Got to run. You guys have a good day. I'll catch you tomorrow.